Good morning, friends. Today we'll be having a discussion on the hydrophytes plants and its adaptive characters. Before the video or previous, you can see in the previous video, we have gone thoroughly through the hydrophytes plants. What are hydrophytes? And on the basis of the attachment of the substratum, how the hydrophytes plants are divided: floating, free floating, merged, submerged, and so on. Today we'll see the adaptations or specific characters of the hydrophytes plants with response to morphological, physiological, and anatomical adaptations. Friends, these are the slides which have been taken from the slideshare.com and which is prepared by the easybiologyclass.com. We have taken here just as a reference. So, in these photographs, you see the plant of Jessia repens. In that, we'll go for by the part wise thoroughly that what type of adaptation exactly roots have been developed in them. Roots are poorly developed, reduced or absent. Here, they don't play the role of absorptions, but the entire plant body act as an or function as an root, such as absorption of water as well as the minerals. Caps of the roots are absent in this case. Root pockets are developed in the form of the protections. There are two types of roots. They have been developed in the Jessia repens: normal roots and floating roots. With regards to the floating roots, negatively geotrophic and spongy, floating roots helps the plant to afloat. Next to that is the stem. Here are four diagrams: Cara, Valisnaria, and many more. Stems to be delicate and green, sometimes found to be rhizome or a runner-like plant. What are the modification in leaves? What are the adaptations? Leaves are long, circular in shape, green in color, thin in size, and smooth in texture. Upper part is exposed to the air and the ventral part which touches the water body. Whereas in lotus, petiole growth is indefinite, that keeps the leaf floating. Heterophyly present in some plant. Heterophyly means different type of leaves are seen on a same individual. Submerged leaves are linear, ribbon-like, or highly dissected. Floating leaves are usually circular. In Ecornia, in this diagram, you see the Ecornia plant. Ecornia photographs is being shown. Flowering is there. Ecornia is also one of the Hydrophytes plant which completely grows in the water. Leaves free floating, and the leaves shows the wax surface. Wax protects the leaves from external injuries such as chemical as well as the physical injuries are protected by this wax coating. Prevent water clogging of stomata. These provide the buoyancy. Next to that, the pollination and dispersal of fruits by the mode of water, that is hydrophyly, and vegetative reproduction is the common reproduction in the Ecornia plant. Now, was the morphological adaptation and the changes in the hydrophytes plants such as Ecornia, Nymphia, Vallisneria, then few of alga and etc. Now we see the anatomical adaptations. What are they? Reduction in protecting structure, increase in the aeration, reduction of supporting or mechanical tissues, reductions in vascular tissues, or transporting system of the plant. One by one, we will be discussing. Number one is that the reduction in protecting structure. Cuticle is completely absent in the submerged plants parts. The plant parts which are completely inside the water body, the cuticle layer is completely absent. This is one of the major anatomical adaptations. Then in aerial parts may present as a thin layer, though it will be present in aerial part up above the water, it may be thin in layer. Epidermis are not acting as a protecting layer, and thus this cells contains chloroplast in the epidermal cells. Though they are not acting as a protecting layer, but they may act as a photosynthetic apparatus or as a chloroplast in epidermal cells. These cells develop the ability to absorb the water as well as the nutrients. Hypodermis are poorly developed. Cells have the thin walled. Now, what is the increase in the aerations? You may see the diagram on the upper side, on the right hand sides. Stomata completely absent in submerged parts. Stomata are completely absent in the part of the plant of hydrophytes which are inside the water or below the water. Vestigial stomata are present. Exchange of gases take place through the cell wall. See now, generally we have been heard that exchange of gases is done by the stomata, but here it is done by the cell wall. Stomata are confined to upper epidermis in floating plants. Parenchyma are well developed in submerged plants, air chambers filled with the respiratory gases and the moisture. So, friends, this was the anatomical and morphological adaptations in the hydrophytes plants. So, you might have been known about the hydrophytes. Yeah, you might have been clear about the hydrophytes